We've been interviewing last year and stuff, the shooter responses to this, and the first thing we're going to go into here is the target shooter, open class style shooter. What your thoughts are on it?
Well, one of the things I hear a lot out here on these is this isn't set up for long stabilizers. You can't use scopes in this situation. Scope is all I've ever used. I don't like pins. Mm-hmm. I hunt with scope. You've seen me. I hunt single pin with a 6-power scope. But that's what I practice it all year long doing your stuff, and shooting a scope in this does not bother me in the least.
Well, is that because you get used to it and learn to shoot around it? Because people tell us that, for lack of better terms, that some of our shoots, we set them so trashy that the lens magnifies all the trash and they can't really see the target.
Then you're not concentrating on where you're needing to kill the animal.
Class stuff to hunt with, and this past season, you did. And both of you, do that because of kind of what we do out here, and the fact that you use it all year long. And I think y'all's fixing to see here as we play this. The first guy's going to talk. He's a semi-pro shooter in one of the other 3D formats. And he really enjoyed this and whatever that away, and said that, well, let's just watch. I'll let him say.
We got 50-yard max. So when you shoot this, there's a lot of 23-yard shots that are tougher than a 50-yard open shot because of the angle. And you can turn, and you can really tell if your bubble's not right, because you can think you're shooting right, and you'll shoot real left and stuff. So it's a little bit tougher, a 23-yard angled shot than an open 50-yard shot. Where he's got a picture of me underneath a tree limb with back tension, and I'm pulling it behind my ear and it won't go off, and I'm still pulling and stuff, but it's really more. I can see by shooting it a little bit, it leans to the hunter. It's a lot better, so I understand it more, and so I'd feel better if I shot just my trigger, where I could really aim and shoot better, because it's harder, especially if you're aiming down or turning around backwards, to pull through a shot with back tension, because your form is out of shape. So it'd be real good to practice with your. I need to just shoot with my trigger, learn how to shoot with my trigger, because my back tension is a little bit, pure back tension is a little tough on it and stuff. But yeah, hey, it's been awesome. We've enjoyed it. It's been tough. Hey, I thought the second round would be easier than the first round, but it's just as tough, because you deal with wind out here in the open. The wind's been bad, but the shots have been good, and they're all been ethical. If you can't do it, you know what? Because they're not been far shots. What it is you're not shooting anything frontal at 45 yards. It's a good 23-yard shot frontal, so you can make the shot. So it's been awesome.
Okay, Jimmy, what this guy's bringing up here, and one of his points is as an open class shooter, the yardage distance. He's talking about a shot that's half the distance.
Less than half.
With open class equipment, you're talking less than half the distance, and the shot is
we
harder.
Have to lean around,
breaking form.
Yeah, breaking that form. Because he talks about in there that he's pulling back tension.
I don't use a back tension release. I use a King George. It's the same basic style, but it's not the true back tension. A lot of the guys say that once you break your form, you can't get into a true back tension style release. Randy, that's all you use. That's all you've ever used.
That's all I've ever used.
And you do this all the time. They're going to say, no, you're punching the trigger. I watch you. You don't punch the trigger, but you have learned to adjust your form to where we're standing and the situation, and still pull off a good shot, not just jerk it off the string.
Right. And what we've learned through shooting this, and this is all I've ever shown, to, pull your body, Yeah,
you're not standing upright in a concrete floored building doing this. You've got to learn.
By no means.
It's got to be practice, and you have to practice this.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've told me on your back tension release that for you, you're out of what the target shooter is used to in other genre.
Form.
Yeah, you're out of that form. But you basically told me that, well, as long as you get your form back from your chest up, everything goes off the same.
One of my biggest things that I've really enjoyed today, like we was talking earlier before we started the second round, is the scoring system. In an ASA tournament, you can always tell when you shoot an 8, you're 2 down, and then you shoot a 10, and you're still 2 down, you shoot a 12, and you're back even. But when we was trying to figure out scores earlier, I thought, man, this don't add up right. But in all honesty, it makes a lot of sense from a hunter's standpoint, because, if you shoot outside the vital areas here, it's a -5. And in all reality, if a person puts that in perspective in the woods, if you shoot a deer, way high in the back, shooting way back, you shouldn't be rewarded points for that anyway. That's not an ethical hunting situation. So as far as putting it ethically and putting your shot placement on a vital kill zone on an area, man, it's awesome. I think it's, it really makes you focus.
For the target shooter and the high competitor that the whole reason why, you know, other forms of 3D archery is all about form is it's all about a points game.
Mm-hmm. And this is a points game, people. If you don't believe on a hard score system, in the regular style shooting and regular club shoots with the other scoring systems, you miss a little bit, you drop a couple points. I'll make that back up in a little while.
Right.
You miss on this one time that far going for the points, you drop 20 points. It takes 7/15 to get you back to shooting an even 12. This is the hardest scoring competitive system that I have
and it
ever
really
come
makes
across.
you pay attention. You know, you're not just drawing back and aiming center mass at an animal. I mean, that doesn't help your left and right and whatnot. You know, when you aim at your angle, you actually have to pick a shot and you have to place it on that animal and you have to place it within that scoring ring. And I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's something.
It can be humbling.
Yeah, it's different.
We hear that a lot.
It can be
Yeah,
humbling.
it'll humble
you.
you
would think
quickly.
that it would be close, it'd be easy to do, but some of them shots are a little bit not too fun.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
one perfect example when we walked through earlier. I mean, a person would think that's easy. I had 15 that earlier, no big deal. I know the yardage. I step up there, draw back, but things have changed. You know, you've got a little tired. You've shot 20 targets. You know, your body's went down a little bit. You step up there, and just something changes, and now I shoot a stinking 10 on it. You know, so yeah, it's not as easy as everybody thinks it out to be. It's challenging, but it's fun at the same time. I've had a lot of fun. You get to shoot. You're still shooting targets. You're still getting a score ring, and you're still having a little bit of a competitive edge, but you're also working on your hunting, you know, on all your hunting aspects of it. I mean, there's every once in a while when you're standing in a tree, you may not have realized that you just came in with a climbing tree, standing in the dark, you cleared you out a couple of branches, and you know you've got good shooting lanes, but all of a sudden you raise up and you found yourself having to bend just enough to get that
so
shot.
you got to learn how to bend under that limb. And out here we've
That
had to do it.
leads to THE, which is True Hunting Experiences. Well, you get the hunting experience with our events because of using nature, using it as obstructions that are real to life, instead of just, you know, a hallway cut down through the woods.
Score rings are, because you got actual kill score zone instead of just a 10, 12, and an 8 ring. You actually have 15 kill for an actual kill shot where the kill shot should be for your kill zone. With animals that aren't always perfect broadside. Like I say, you're shooting at a real kill zone, you know, quarter away animal. You don't shoot behind the shoulder like a normal score ring. You actually shoot where you would shoot the animal if you were hunting.
Competitive and more real life.
Okay. Just more like a training scenario. More training. Just like if you was going out and hunting, paying for a hunt. You got to look at it this way. It could happen anyway.
What we just heard them say as well.
Yeah.
You know, that
exactly.
they said in that segment, here they are target shooters, and that's what they said. You know, you heard John Bice, that he makes the comment that this is more of a training scenario.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know, for the hunt. And here he is, an open class shooter and everything like that, but he sees it for what it is.
And what we've always talked about is the fact that we call it what? Hunting practice.
Yeah.
That's right. We're practicing. We're practicing in here on foam before the fall, where we go and shoot the flesh and blood.
Right.
You know? And we're teaching ourselves the angles,
which aren't always perfect.
That's right.
You can't set these up on everything being perfect, but it's so close, and it's so much closer than anything out there.
Right.
On trying to make a hunting situation.
And I promise you, I've never went into the woods on a hunting trip or anything like that and had
the perfect shot.